The Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, is going to table the Economic Survey 23-24. All eyes are also going to be on Sanjeev Sanyal's presentation, which is going to commence at 2 p.m. The Finance Minister is going to be tabling the Economic Survey, and we will talk about the Economic Survey as well as the budget that's going to be presented tomorrow in the House. We'll be speaking to some experts and people who understand and can comment on the economy as it stands and where it is going. Joining me on the show at this point in time is Kunal Sharma, founder and CEO of Chhatra Sansad, India. Lloyd Matthias, business strategist, also joining us on the program. Sunil Thakur, partner at Quadria Capita, with us on the program too. Pranay Agarwal, political analyst, with us on the program too. Anshul Gupta, director of Okaya Electric Vehicles, with us on the program. Rajiv Roy, MD of AgriPlus Technologies India Private Limited, is also with us. He's an agriculture expert. Kapil Mittal is a tax expert, joining us on the program as well. Dr. Nilanjan Banik, Professor of Economics, Mahindra University, also with us on the program. Thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation. Lloyd, I'd like to begin with you if you can hear me. Lloyd? Okay, there's a problem with your audio, Lloyd. We'll come back to you momentarily. Let me in fact open Dr. Banik on top of this show. Dr. Banik, if you can hear me. Dr. Banik, if you can hear me. I can't hear you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, there you are. There you are. I can hear you now. Dr. Banik, appreciate you taking out the time and speaking with us. Well, the Prime Minister has enunciated that in a world of gloom and doom when it comes to economy and finances, India is a ray of hope. At 2 p.m, Mr. Sanyal is going to be presenting India's report card and its projection into the future as well when it comes to its economy, as well as where we stand in the world today. What are your expectations as to how this is going to pan out?
See, whenever we are dealing with the economic numbers, we are talking about two things. The first is the growth part of the story, which is usually related to the GDP numbers, which you are going to hear a short while from now. The other part is the development sector's related numbers. Now, if you look into the real growth part of the story, we are supposed to grow at around 7%, which I think is a commendable job given the headwinds that we have seen that has panned out over the period of last year, namely the higher crude oil price, the war in Russia, as well as for some period of time we have had higher vegetable price in the domestic market. Now, given all these headwinds, what we have done in terms of our real growth numbers, which is around 7%, I think government has done a commendable job. Having said that, I think there is a need to look into the social sector as well, which has to do with the development sector number, and that has to do with the Bharat, as we say. Now, we are also seeing the commendable effort that Finance Minister put last year in terms of a higher capex allocation towards building the infrastructure. Now, almost 7.5 lakh crore rupees were allocated, and what we are seeing in terms of the higher growth number right now has to do with the higher multiplier effect that we are seeing in terms of building roads, ports. In fact, the PM Gati Shakti scheme is now being joined with the Sagarmala scheme. So ideally, you are actually connecting the roads with the port system, which are all good news. Going forward, I think what need to be done is higher allocation in the sectors where presumably there are more job creation, for instance, the MSME sector, because this is the sector which is not doing that great under condition of the global headwinds that we are seeing. Also, some intervention in the, let's say, in the healthcare, in the housing. I hear President Murmu talking about how Jal Jeevan Mission scheme, how Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, even the Narega schemes are making a difference in the life of the poor. Now, what is need to be seen is once the economic survey is being placed in the parliament, is how much additional allocation are made into these sectors. Okay. And that actually have a salutary impact in reducing our growing income inequality.
Okay, all right. Sunil Thakur, if you can hear me. Sunil, if you're there with us.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sunil, let's talk about healthcare. It was something which was also alluded to by Dr. Banik. After COVID-19, there has been extra pressure. There has been a lot of stress on our healthcare apparatus as well as the systems and the ecosystem. Is the government going to keep that a priority, keeping in mind that capex is predominantly going towards infrastructure? Healthcare also turns out to be a pressing cause which they have to focus on. And let's not forget that there also has to be caution in terms of our fiscal deficit not getting out of control when the expenditure is going to rise. Your thoughts, Sunil?
No, absolutely, Vineet. I think, as all of us know, healthcare has been front and center of policy making for the last few years, which has further accelerated because of COVID. And therefore, the expectation is that the government is going to focus big time on healthcare on quite a few fronts. First of all, in terms of the capacity building, which is mainly infrastructure, especially building hospitals and healthcare provision in tier 2, tier 3 cities. That's a big expectation. The second is, focus on again, related to capacity building, which is resourcing, both clinical and paramedical, which also links into the job creation. As most of us would know, healthcare is one of the largest employers, having employed more than 5 million people. It's one of the largest job creators. And the need for resourcing is very, very acute, especially in the far-flung areas. And therefore, if we have to tie that thread to create more employment, healthcare is one big sector. The third aspect is, some incentive around healthcare financing to make it more inclusive, especially for the missing middle. So these are some of the big areas that I would believe, apart from obviously focus on digitization, that's across all sectors, but more importantly will help the healthcare sectors, both in terms of providing access as well as in terms of providing quality. So I do expect a big announcement in terms of a bigger outlay to the healthcare sector, because it has the ability to achieve many objectives, for the government and for the country.
All right. Pranay Agarwal is also here with us. Pranay, expectations obviously will galore at this point in time. If you look at the world economy, Pranay, India has done considerably well, comparatively well, than some of the other established P5 countries, if I can call them that. The Americans have accelerated their GDP lesser than 5%. The same can be said for the United Kingdom as well as Germany as well as France. But India, on the other hand, despite the population, despite the challenges, despite all the dynamics which come into play when you have to administer such a large country, has done extremely well. And the economic survey is only going to propel that thought further into 23-24. Your thoughts, Pranay?
Yes, Vineet. So the very fact that we are talking about India in the same breath as United States or France, right, that itself is testimony to where our economy has reached. Only 10 years back, our economy was the 11th largest in the world. Now we have overtaken United Kingdom's economy. We've become the 5th largest already, right? And it is quite likely that the $5 trillion target that the PM had set for 2025 will be achieved. In fact, that will be no difficult feat, I would say, though it is, yes, psychologically an important mark. But what we need to ensure is that this growth that we achieve is more inclusive and spread out as possible, right? So the government has shown that it has the capacity to not only launch developmental projects, because that is something all governments do, but also implement them in mission mode, whether it is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, which took toilet coverage from less than 40% to 100% households, or the more recently started Jal Jeevan Mission. Yeah, and similarly, we've seen with financial inclusion through Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile. We have seen, the Ujjwala Yojana. So there are ample examples. Also, Vineet, the president rightly pointed out, or laid a focus not only the golden past, but also golden future. In fact, the president used a very, beautiful phrase when she talked about, writing golden chapters of modernity.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.